How luck made Australia one of the richest countries in the world. Well, what is the richest country in the world? Or the other question which can be asked, the most contentious one is, where does Australia's wealth come from? And how did it manage to escape falling victim to the natural resource curse? And what are the reasons that some people believe that the economy of Australia will no longer expand in the years to come? Hey geopoliticians, welcome back to Nations Echo, where we do the detailed discussions on the problems, advantages, and disadvantages of different countries, and we're going to discuss Australia. So let's get into the video to know what made Australia the attraction for the riches, and why is it considered one of the richest countries in the world. Donald Horne published the book titled The Lucky Country in 1964. Even though the origin of the phrase was in bad light within the framework of the novel, the title has become a nickname for Australia and is often used favorably. It has been used concerning a variety of topics including Australia's natural resources, weather, history, early dependence on the British system, distance from difficulties in other parts of the world, and other types of alleged prosperity. When Horne set out to write the book, he had the intention of portraying Australia's rise to power and prosperity as being almost solely the result of good fortune, rather than the power of the country's political or economic system, both of which he considered to be second grade. In addition to the country's political and economic failings, he bemoaned the people of Australia's lack of inventiveness and ambition, as well as their Philistinism in the absence of art. Horne saw the Australian people as being self-satisfied and indifferent to intellectual matters. He also lamented the absence of art. In addition to that, he offered his thoughts on topics concerning Australian Puritanism and conservatism, particularly concerning issues of censorship and politics. Australia is one of the wealthiest countries in the world in the 21st century, even though deserts make up approximately 2/3 of the country. In addition, there is always at least one city from the land of kangaroos included in the list of the top 10 most livable cities in the world, and oftentimes there are even 2 or 3 cities included in the list. Why is Australia such a wealthy nation, and what sets this state apart from the majority of other countries throughout the world? The first reason which can be considered is its mineral resources. Mineral resources are abundant in Australia. In this regard, the nation not only satisfies effectively its own internal requirements, but it also satisfies the requirements of a great number of countries located all over the world. Gold, aluminum, iron ore, nickel, silver, diamonds, opal, oil, natural gas, and whatever else you can think of are all examples of valuable resources. All of these resources, in addition to a great number of others, can be found here in extremely abundant numbers. The number of diamonds that Australia produces places it in 3rd place worldwide, although it is the leading producer of aluminum and opal. The second reason which can be concluded, the food business in Australia is nearly dependent on goods produced within the country, and Australia is one of the world's major manufacturers and exporters of food items. For instance, significant portions of the country are devoted to the cultivation of cereal crops. Fruits and vegetables that are native to particular climate zones elsewhere in the world can be found growing in a variety of regions across Australia. The vast majority of the continent is used for the cultivation of grain and industrial crops. In addition to this, Australia is recognized as one of the nations that has one of the greatest herds of animals in the entire world. The number of sheep in the country is the second highest in the world after China's, and the export of beef is the second highest in the world after Brazil's. And the third reason, in 2012, Australia was ranked as the nation with the 12th largest economy on the planet. In addition, Australia was ranked as one of the top 5 most sparsely inhabited independent countries on the planet. If you delve into the specifics, you'll find something that it has in common with Scandinavia, which is also quite low in population, but at the same time has a very high standard of living for all of its residents. To put it another way, a relatively small percentage of the population is responsible for the vast majority of the wealth on an entire continent. Because of this, Australia can continue its strategy of maintaining a higher quality of life than the majority of other countries. Reason number 4 is, another aspect that contributes significantly to the riches of Australia is the clever immigration strategy that the country maintains. In contrast to the immigration policies of other nations, which are often geared toward fostering greater cultural and ethnic diversity, Australia's immigration program is primarily focused on luring workers with the highest levels of education and experience, regardless of where in the world they were born. Because of this, the bulk of the population today is composed of immigrants from countries such as Japan, Korea, and China, whose cultures are renowned for their high levels of diligence and respect when it comes to the workplace. The fifth reason is that the development of the Australian economy is significantly impacted by the significance of the Australian dollar. The currency is widely used in a lot of different countries. It is the fifth most common currency in the world, following the United States dollar, the European euro, the Japanese yen, and the British pound, and it plays an enormously significant role in the financial markets. The significance of the Australian dollar cannot be overstated in the South Pacific and Southeast Asian economies. The significance of the Australian dollar is rapidly increasing, and as of right now, it holds a larger share of the global currency market in comparison to the Swiss franc and the Canadian dollar. Reason number 6. The exceptionally high standard of education offered in Australia makes it the nation's most advantageous long-term investment. As time has passed, this nation has risen to the ranks to become the third most sought-after location for obtaining a higher education anywhere in the world, and its educational system now ranks among the most cutting-edge on the entire planet. People travel from every continent to further their education in the hopes of having a more successful beginning to their lives. Because of this, the fact that Australia is now one of the most successful nations in the world should not come as a surprise to anyone. So viewers, please let us know in the comment box if these strategies are really working for Australia. We'll move further along. Reason number 7, investment in economic sectors that have considerable possibilities for future growth, such as high technologies and tourism, is an essential component in the growth and prosperity of any nation. This is especially true for countries that are still in the process of developing. When a nation is trying to gain a significant advantage over its competitors, one of the most important things it can do is make sure that it spends an appropriate amount of money on advertising, particularly in the field of tourism. This is one of the most important things that it can do. Australia, which in recent years has become an increasingly popular and familiar tourist destination, is one of the countries in the world that makes the largest scale campaign to promote its tourist attractions. This is one of the reasons why Australia has become an increasingly popular and familiar tourist destination. This is due to the fact that Australia is among the countries that offer the greatest variety and quantity of tourist destinations. Cities, national parks, architectural landmarks, and beaches are all examples of locations that are advertised down to the minute details of their characteristics. Moving on to the 8th and last reason, which is, last but not least, because of the affluent Anglo-Saxon economic model has been so successful, it is vital to talk about it for a while because it has been so effective. This kind of capitalism is distinguished from others in several crucial particulars, the most notable of which is concerning the taxation of capital. The Anglo-Saxon approach is characterized by a lower level of governmental interference and fewer regulatory restraints than the continental or continental European approach. The private sector is preeminent, and private property is responsible for the bulk of the work that has to get done in society. The application of this paradigm has yielded extremely encouraging results. It should suffice to note that it is prevalent in many countries throughout the world, including the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, New Zealand, and Australia, to name just a few of the many places in which it can be found. So viewers, that's going to do it for today's video, and we'll be right back with more great videos in the future. We sincerely appreciate you spending time with us today, and make sure you like our video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.